you guys, I'm super excited that Olenka has agreed to host this workshop. She is absolutely incredible. A lot of you guys, I think, were at her first workshop last week. So she needs no introduction as far as that goes. But this is someone I really respect and admire. I find her just so inspiring, everything that she has done and is working towards. And she's just, as far as entrepreneurs go, this is the ultimate entrepreneur. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Olenka and let her take the wheel. But if we can give her just a little round of applause, I'm so excited.
Yay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take it away.
Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be back. So definitely, especially in this one particular, because I'm going to focus more on a female side of entrepreneurship. So I'm definitely excited. And yes, so I'm going to share my slides again. You guys, you already know that the chat box is at the bottom. So if you have questions in the process, don't hesitate to type them as we go. And then again, at the end, I'll make sure we all have time to unmute ourselves and you guys can ask me more questions. But like I said, don't wait till the end. You can always type them in and I'll take some breaks to make sure I will answer the questions as we go. But I will share my screen. So again, Alicia, if you see we have people in the waiting room or whatever happened, make sure don't hesitate to interrupt me to do what we need to do, because once I share my screen, I don't think I can see everything happening. So I don't know if any of you are new on this one, but this particular one, I wanted to focus on specifically on women's sides of entrepreneurship. And just like Alicia said, I am, not new to entrepreneurship. So I have done a lot of kind of really awesome things. And you do know from my accent, I was born and raised in Russia. I did not move to the US till right before I turned 21. And I got to do some pretty cool things. I've done 2 TED Talks to date, was named Millennial Leader magazine in 2017, was Phoenix Business Journal nominee for the class of 2017, have 2 books out that are Amazon bestsellers. And the only reason I'm sharing all this with you, because I want to impress upon you that whatever you guys decide to do with your life, you can most certainly do it at this big scale as you can possibly imagine. So don't hesitate to build big, to go out there and really, basically really project your dreams in the best possible way. And it's been definitely an amazing journey building my businesses and also helping hundreds, probably thousands of startups at this point, working globally and watching them take their ideas and turn them completely into something that's tangible, turn them into products and services that they are now running. So it's really incredible. So I'm very excited for all of you, obviously, to take your ideas in the process of this competition and turn them into something that's going to impact your communities, your world, and people around you in general. So with that said, we are talking about perception versus reality in the media all the time. And I'm a big believer that unfortunately, while social media serves so many incredible things, it also deters us from real entrepreneurship, right? Because we have this perception that it's super easy and it's super fast and things happen overnight. But unfortunately, your followers, and I know a lot of us are focusing on vanity metrics, those followers don't mean cash flow, because having people that follow you and people who actually buy from you are not the same thing. So when you're on your social media accounts, I really highly recommend that you still evaluate people based on their value and based on the business that they build versus just, on their how large of a social media presence they have. Because I promise you, I have companies and clients today that if you look at their social media, they're just okay. And yet they're absolutely, selling at the best possible points, and they have hundreds and thousands of customers. And then there are other customers, and then I know other companies that have this incredible social media presence, but yet they don't have anything to show for it. So one of the things I want you to focus on while building your business, and you'll hear that a lot, and unfortunately I see that a lot in the MBA programs I go teach in when I work with universities, I hear this example where unless you're number one, you don't play. And I think it is absolutely the false statement. happen, because unless you get on the court and unless you do something and unless you start, you will never be number one. So when you start in your business, one thing I will caution you against is actually looking at comparing yourself to other businesses and comparing yourself to other entrepreneurs, because you cannot compare your page 1 to someone else's page 100. And what it's going to do, it's actually going to deter you and take away from your focus. And it's going to most certainly give you doubts and take away from your confidence. So you want to be very strategic when you start building your business, and really, be very curated almost on all your feeds. Don't compare yourself to other people and really focus, because ultimately the final decisions in your business are always going to come to you. They're not going to come, yes, you're going to listen to your mentors, you're going to ask questions, but the final decision will always be yours. So, the real life business, I just love this picture, multitasking at its finest. As entrepreneurs, you're going to do a lot of things, and a lot of things that you don't necessarily love. So don't think that running your business is only doing things that you're passionate and excited about. A lot of things you're going to be doing are not going to be that great or that exciting. So you'll definitely need to make sure that you value yourself and value your time, because when you are focusing on building your business, many times you're going to be pulled in different directions. You're going to have to do a million of different small things. So you have to be very productive when you work on your time and on your hours. And we all have 24/7, we all have 24 hours available for us. So I necessarily don't buy into excuse I don't have time, because when you are determined and when you're focused, you will always find time to do things that are important for you and your business. So as female entrepreneurs, I really want you to sit with this statement. I use it all the time. Being worthy is not something you earn, it is something you recognize. Because a lot of times I see younger entrepreneurs thinking that, hey, if I haven't earned my stripes, if I haven't done all the big things I want to do, then I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy to go after this particular client. I'm not worthy to talk to this particular mentor or ask for help from this business. Here's the thing. You don't need to earn anything. You already have the worth inside you, and all you have to do is just recognize it and act accordingly. Because I will tell you from my experience with working with startups literally all across the globe, I've seen young startups that are absolutely stellar in their business, and regardless of how much experience they have, they just produce and create unbelievable results. So age does not necessarily, yes, you will have some wisdom with age, but in entrepreneurship, you can be young and green and still create incredible companies. So don't base your worth on something you earn. It just needs to be something that's inherently inside you, and you believe that you're there, and you believe that your project matters, and you believe that your idea is important, and you need to stand by that. Because no matter what happens around you and no matter what people will tell you, you will always have judgments from people, and you have to learn to ignore those judgments very early on, because there'll be plenty of people who are going to be judging you. But remember, most people who are going to judge you are not the people who are ahead of you. It's mostly people who are not doing enough, and so they have that time to sit and judge you. So a couple of things you need to realize. First of all, you're all addicts, okay? I know that you guys have turned and used the term busy one too many times. I feel that in the US specifically, we use the term busy like a badge of honor. Like if you look in your even text messages, I guarantee you probably used that word in the last 24 hours. In reality, we're actually interrupted every 3 minutes with our phones most of the time. That's why I say your real boss is in your pocket, and it takes 11 minutes to regain your concentration. So when you're working on something, you really have to realize that you are not busy, you're just not productive. There is a huge difference between being busy and having your calendar filled up and feeling like you're doing all the things, while in reality, you're just going through the motions. You're not being productive. Productive has to be focused on exactly something that relates to you moving your business forward. And when you are focusing on that and you really get specific and you really dial in your productivity and moving your business forward, you can do incredible things on a very short amount of time. So you have to be very careful with, being pulled in different directions and focusing on, your phone and being interrupted all the time. Now, all you need to do, and I see that especially a lot with women, one of the things you definitely need to do is stop apologizing. Because, as women, and there is even I don't know if you've seen the video, there are plenty of videos now that are kind of jokingly talking about apologies and women apologizing all the time. So we have this mentality where even if we didn't do anything wrong, we basically start apologizing anyway. So I want you to start substituting, and I mean, unless you did something wrong, that's fine, you can apologize, but I would like for you to do this exercise and start substituting your I am sorry with I am thank you for. For example, if you're late, you would say thank you for waiting for me, or thank you for being understanding because this and this happened. So if it's an actual issue where you need to be sorry, it's completely okay to say I'm sorry, but I'm sure you've caught yourself before where you say sorry for everything. I'm sorry I opened this door. Oh, I'm sorry I gave this to you. Oh, I'm sorry. So women do this all the time. It's kind of ingrained in our nature. So I really want you to play this game and start substituting it for thank you for, and see what happens, because it's pretty extraordinary what's going to happen with your mindset when you start doing that. You also, even where you are today, need to start training people how to treat you when you're working on your business. They should be emailing you and your team if you're working with one, or setting appointments with your mentors. You need to have designated time when you check your emails. Otherwise, they become a black hole, or your social media, and you're there for hours before you even know that. You can train people to knock on your doors and schedule calls. So I'll give you an example of something I do for my productivity. I never answer calls that haven't been scheduled. I literally don't pick up my phone and they go into voicemail. So unless you schedule a call with me, I will not pick it up. That's a personal choice because it allows me to be productive. Because otherwise, I'm going to start picking up all kinds of calls that don't matter at the moment. And if I'm working on a particular project, I want to stay focused on that project. So that's something that I do for my personal productivity. I also do not take late meetings. If you show up, 10 to 15 minute rule, that's what I use. If you're 10 minutes late and it's basically your request for me to meet, I leave after 15 minutes. If I requested you to meet, I'll give 15 minutes for me to wait, and then I will leave. So again, this is just me training people in various ways in how I expect it to be, how I expect my business settings to be operated. And this is no different than you guys training your muscles in the gym. This is just you training yourself on your productivity, learning how to stop apologizing and thanking people instead, and also learning how to stay focused on your project, because when you're going to be pulled in all kinds of different directions, it's definitely going to be very, very difficult to understand this. So the next thing I want to touch upon is, my screen is not, here we go. I want to talk specifically about your social media and creating your brand, because your brand and your brand that you're going to build on social media is actually going to equal the impact that you're going to create. So it's not going to be about rainbows and unicorns. And I know a lot of you already have social media, and you're probably going to look at creating social media for your companies. So you need to understand it can be all games, right? Your social media is going to stay with you forever, whether you're building it for your business that you're working on now, or you're also building it for yourself, it can be all fun and games, because guess what? Today, social media became your new business card. And even if you don't realize it, people you're gonna collaborate with, people who are you eventually going to work with, are all going to go to your social media and take a look at it. So you definitely, I say that social media is wanting to be wanted. It's basically an opportunity for all of us to be out there and to create that platform for ourselves. But in reality, we have to realize that it's also our business card, and we're going to present ourselves to people in various ways. So one thing that men, I believe, do very, very well, and they almost do it better than women in business, is the brag, is the clout, or the way, the perception, the presence that they create, whether it's on social media or in person. And what I mean by brag is your ability to show up, to be sold, to demand attention, and deliver from your why. A lot of times when I talk to female entrepreneurs about their projects, they actually don't pay attention to, they come out very shy, and they'll talk about their projects as if they don't matter. So I definitely want you guys to understand that brag is something where you show up very, very confident first, because if you can't present yourself at a confident level, you are not going to be able to sell your idea to anybody, because people are going to buy you first, right? We talk about that all the time. People are going to buy you first. So you have to show up from your why, you have to show up from your main idea and deliver that brag accordingly. Unfortunately, there is this irony we live in. As a society, we first encourage people to live their best until they do, and then we actively start bringing them down. And I'm sure you've seen that. I'm sure you've experienced that. You've seen that with your friends, where at first we're like, yeah, go do it, go live your best life. And then the minute they start showing up and actually doing this, then we're going to have all these people judging them and bringing them down. We see this all the time. It happens in person. It happens on social media. It's nothing new. It's nothing that you guys have not dealt with. And it's very, very ironic. So I want you to be aware of this. And one of the things that we don't do enough as female entrepreneurs is master that brag. You see, I believe that women's businesses or women in general in business, play secondary positions a lot of times because they don't master their brag. And so why now? Well, because everything the society you live in right now is very fast paced and attention addictive. And what I mean by this is you are all bombarded with information all the time. You wake up in the morning, you go on social media, you go on various type of news outlets, and you have you're flooded with information, right? We definitely don't have shortage of information, but it's also attention addictive, meaning everybody's striving to grab your attention. So when you build your brand, you actually only have 5 to 7 seconds to grab someone's attention. So when you create your pitch, when you create your social media presentations, you need to remember that. And so I want to talk about 3 different things that I teach women I work with to do. It's called the brag bomb, the bragalog, and underbrag. And I'll talk about all of them and explain the difference. So the brag bomb is very popular on social media. It's basically a short, snappy fact that you can present about your brand or your business or whatever idea you're trying to present. And you present it in a very short, snappy way. So everybody kind of like, whoa, like their reaction is like, wow, this is cool. I see that in presentations. When you do your pitch, you can open with something that's pretty extraordinary and very exciting. Bragalog is about you. It's basically a monologue of why I will want to do business with you, right? And so if you have a bragalog and you are talking about yourself, you are talking about yourself, we, in this case, are presenting that in a very direct way, and we're explaining everything to people, and we're explaining it to them why it's important. So this is where you want to have relevant facts. You want to have you want to talk about everything you're working with, clients you're working with, how you're in the industry, any projects. So brag-a-log is something you're going to build your pitch about, and it's going to be very important to share with your audience so they understand what makes you different, what makes your company or your presentation different about anybody else. And then you definitely want to talk about underbrag, where underbrag is something where you did something really cool, but you're kind of presented in a very nonchalant way. So people are just starting to pay attention. So you have to master all three of those things. And that's how important it is, because they each will, you know, bring a certain attention to the business that you're building. Each of this is going to serve a different purpose. So one of the other things I want to invite you to do is, when you're now starting to build your business, I want you to go to after the biggest people in the room. Honestly, that's how I build my mentor network. That's how I build both of my companies. Don't ever be shy to go after biggest people in the room. And I always use this quote that I love: I would rather you are rejected by greatness than accepted by mediocrity. And what I mean by this is, if you go after the biggest people in the room, most of them, one, will never say no to you, and two, even if they can't help you, will refer you to someone who can. So that's what I did. Just to give you a personal story, when I was at the beginning of building my first business, I just started my company. I only had like $400 in the actual account. And I went to Darren Hardy's event, who at that time was already working with people like Oprah and Steve Jobs and interviewing people like Elon Musk. So he was, you know, working with top CEOs in the country. And I approached him and I asked him if we could be partners. Well, my company was 3 weeks old. He obviously was not going to be partners with me. But the cool part about it is that I knew that if I presented the right way, he would actually help me. And so what I did is I literally wrote him a blank check and I sent it to his office, and I put a sticky note on the check where I said, hey, I would like to meet with you for 30 minutes. So I'm asking for 30 minutes of your time in person. And if you don't find what I show you valuable, you can write whatever number you want in that check. So I knew a couple of things were going to happen. I was either going to get a meeting with Darren Hardy, which I really wanted, or I was going to be bankrupt really fast because I didn't have any money in my company. So even if he wrote a check, it would bounce. So what that did, however, is it gave him a perception. It showed him how serious I really was about building that. So a week later, I got a call and I got invited into a mastermind with him, which allowed me to build incredible connections from that point on. So that one occurrence completely changed my life. So I want you to do exactly the same thing. When you're building your business right now, when you're working with companies that are important to you and can change things for you, when you're, you know, looking for clients, when you're looking for connections and collaborations, don't hesitate and go up to the biggest people in the room, because they literally, one of those people can change the trajectory of your life forever. Just to give you an idea, what happened with me, because of Darren Hardy, I met the publisher who actually later published 2 of my books. I also met my first mentor. I also met my first business partner who helped me build my first company and expand it globally. So because of that one connection, I had 6, 7 people come into my life that completely changed the trajectory of my life. So I definitely want you, I call them, you know, the champagne people, you can call them whatever, you know, your dream team. I want you to sit down after this call today and think what type of dream team you guys can create for your company, for your business that you are building, and start reaching out to those people. And guess what? Now with the age of social media, you don't have shortage reaching out to those people. You definitely can find them. You can ask them questions. You can reach out to them for help, and it will be very, very beneficial for your life. So this is one of the things I wanted to share. This is actually the progression of me with Darren Hardy, which is kind of funny. So this bottom picture on your guys' left with me in this kind of a green suit was me when I first met Darren. And this was me at that first mastermind and kind of like learning everything and having no clue what I was doing. The second picture is me in his private mastermind 2 years later, which was called the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. This is after my first book came out. And then the last picture on the right-hand side is me actually speaking on the same stage as Darren Hardy 2 years ago. So the reason I'm sharing this is I believe that your influencers in your life equal the impact that you're going to create and the income that essentially you're going to create. Because I'm sure you've heard this line where the first, how your mentor circle affects your income. You heard the line, yes, the 5 people that you spend the most time with are the people who are going to be responsible for your for your well-being, for your life. So in this case, these are still the 5 people, but they're not going to be your friends. These people should be what I teach, are those like take my breath away and make me slightly nauseous kind of mentors, people that you otherwise would never reach out to. So I would definitely look for people like that and start reaching out to them and starting asking them questions and starting to ask them for help, because they will completely change the trajectory of your life and your business. Also, your mentors do need to be influencers, and I don't mean the Instagram or the social media type of influencers. I mean the kind of people that create impact in real life and build incredible businesses. So I always personally say, don't take advice from anyone who you would not want to trade your life with. So I would find people in the industry that you want to be in. I would find the people who are at the top, people who you wish you were like, and start reaching out to them. And when you ask somebody to be your mentor, you don't have to ask them for a lot of time. Most of my mentors give me about an hour, I would say, every month or every 3 months. And that's all you need. And then you take in a lot of notes and you pay attention, and you definitely can do a lot of things based on that. And like I said, you definitely want to go after the biggest person in the room, because greatness does love bold. And when you are working on your business and now you have your brag-a-log, remember, it's like a short, snappy pitch that when you talk to somebody, gives them that opportunity to learn exactly who you are and the type of business you created. So essentially, your brag-a-log, you use it with people like this. And when they ask, what are you planning, or what are you working on, or what are you doing, this is your opportunity to tell them. Because as females, I feel that a lot of times we're very, very shy, and we always kind of talk less of ourselves, and we present ourselves in a less of a light, which is not true. Most of you have earned being where you are and are passionate about what are you building. So I want you to completely own your brag-a-log and definitely show up with that. So don't be shy, don't hold back, and definitely present yourself to people the way you believe. And, I always say that greatness loves bold, because, when you have to build your business, you have to take risks. Nothing in your business, unfortunately, most things are going to be calculated risks if you do it correctly, but nothing in your business is going to be predictable, right? Right now, we're talking with you on this Zoom call. None of us predicted what the world is going to turn into. And the last 3 months completely changed everyone's perspective on everything, even the way we run businesses. So nobody could possibly predict that. And that is why it literally completely changed the trajectory of so many companies. Even the companies that were brick and mortar and had official offices are now forced to be online. It's not a choice. It is something that we are all, excited or not excited to do, and we all had to learn overnight how to run online businesses. So one of the things you have to realize about building your business is, things can change. Things can change practically overnight. And the more nimble you are, the more open to change you are, the better it's going to be. So you always should think of what other opportunities you can create in your business to create the revenue, to create opportunities to meet new people, to create opportunities to connect with someone who is going to propel you to the next level or to a different stage. You guys, I'm sure, have heard the line that your network is your net worth, and I'm big believer of that. To me, building your network of people who are close around you is just as important as building your business. And if you're doing it smart while you're building your business, you absolutely need to build the network around you that's going to be your supporting team, to be people that when you're stuck or you don't understand something or you don't know something, those are going to be the people you go after and ask them questions and ask them for help. Even if you're building this business by yourself, being solopreneur does not mean that you build everything on your own. No great solopreneur build anything by themselves. They will always have a team. They will always have mentors. And I'm a huge proponent of mentors. I haven't been without a mentor or coach for the last 8 years, you guys. I want you to really sit with this. I haven't been without a mentor or coach haven't run 2 successful companies now I haven't been without one for the last 8 years. And if you look on anybody who is great, they have mentors, they have coaches, they reach out for help. As a matter of fact, I can tell you a personal story. I almost stifled the growth of my first company. I almost killed it, actually, because I wasn't asking for help early enough. And when my first mentor finally came on board, she said, "What are you doing? You need help. You need to get people on board because you can't possibly be doing everything yourself and you're not, spending enough time on doing things you need to do." So she was the one who changed my perspective on things and made me realize that you need to have help and you need to have people you can fall back on. So, and by asking for help, it doesn't always mean money. So I get a lot of young startups who tell me, "Well, Olenka, we don't have the cash flow. We don't have the money. We can't pay anybody." This is not about money, you guys. You're always going to have people who want to help you simply because they love what you're doing, simply because they're excited to be a part of something you're doing. So you can help them with purely because they love the idea. You can trade for something if you're really good at writing and they're really good at technical stuff like building websites. You can trade for services. You can also ask people, if they're just willing to help for an hour or two here or there. So there's always ways to bring people into your movement, because essentially when you're building a brand or you're building a company, you're building a movement, right? And I don't know if any of you have seen a TED Talk, How to Start a Movement, but it's really, really great. And it really does start with a few people who are first hesitant, and maybe they're just hesitant to fall in and work with you. And then the minute the first wave comes, then you can attract more people. And especially as female entrepreneurs, we don't have enough female entrepreneurs. So the more females you can get involved, even to just help you and give you some, options, the better it is. I'm a huge proponent to just letting people experience what it's like to be an entrepreneur. It's not for everybody. It's most certainly not easy, but to me, it's absolutely worth it because one, you learn the skills. I mean, think of all the skills you get to learn in the process of building your business. You learn how to sell. You learn how to be your own marketer. You learn how to calculate finances and understand how finances work in a company. You learn how to communicate to other people and work with teams. So essentially, by going through that process of building your own business, you're going through the whole experience of like 6 different things or 7 different things you're doing at once. So it's very, very big and important. And then one of the things, like I said, don't let anybody tell you just because you're female, you somehow have to be deserving or earning something. You have just as much power within you as any male out there, and you definitely can show up with that brag and owning what you already have. Because guess what? Nobody is born confident. I wasn't this way when I started building my first business. I made a lot of mistakes and asked for a lot of help and asked a lot of questions. But this is one thing I need you to be prepared for. You are going to fail. And failure is not going to be something that's the end result. It's just going to be a part of the process. And so if you make a mistake and if you're doing something wrong, it is absolutely at all times better than not doing anything at all. Because you are going to be doing things that maybe don't even exist. So you're just making calculated predictions and showing up with the best you've got at this given moment. So don't feel that you have to know everything perfectly, because as women, one of the qualities we have is always having that perfection mode. We always want to have everything lined up and everything has to be great and everything has to be aligned, but that's not what business is, you guys. Business is messy. It is designed to be messy. It is designed to try, fail, try again, make some errors, make some changes, try again. So I don't want you to sit in that perfection mode that's going to hold you back from starting and hold you back from playing big. Because the only people that I know that actually play big, they just fail a lot. The only difference between me right now sitting here behind the screen teaching you about this and you is because I failed about 10,000 more times. That's the only difference. I'm not any smarter than you. I don't have any superpower skills, I promise you. I don't have anything magical that's helping me build my businesses. I just failed about 10x more and asked for a lot more help, and that's the difference. So as females, I want you to show up in your full power. I want you to find mentors and go for the biggest people in the room. I want you to ask some questions, lots of them actually. I want you to make lots of mistakes. And next time when people ask you, what do you have to bring to the table? You have a full right to tell them that you bought this table. And I am, as always, an open book. I want to help you. So if you have questions for me, this is my social media account, my website, and my direct email. So you guys can email me, ask me questions, ask me for mentor help, suggestions on people who can mentor you. I can absolutely bring that to the table. And I thank you for taking this time and also taking your chances on building your businesses. And I want to make sure that all of you ask me questions. So you guys are welcome to type them into the chat. You're also welcome to unmute yourself and ask me questions. But this is all I had to share with you today. So again, there are no bad questions. You can type them into the chat box at the bottom, or you can unmute yourself and ask me questions.
Okay, so
right.
I guess I'll go again. So
Yeah.
I've done quite a bit since the last time we've talked. I've
Woohoo.
actually did a survey and stuff to go and see if it's needed.
Okay.
But my question is, when is like the right time to like start the social media accounts? Like when is it appropriate to start things up, even though it's kind of new waters?
I love it. Yesterday, your proper time to do your social media account is yesterday, because then I'll tell you why. So think about it. Your social media is basically a platform you're building, right? You're not going to get hundreds of thousands of followers overnight. So you can build your platform at any point. And eventually people will start discovering you. People will start, eventually you're going to start directing traffic to that. So you can, I know companies and I've coached companies that start building their social media a year before they go to the market. It's very common because you're just building a platform and a holding space. And the more people find out about you, because here's the thing, social media is not your sales platform, right? It can be a sales platform, but at the beginning, you're building the community. You're building your your 1,000 true fans, people who want to support you. So yeah, you can start at any point and talk about teasers, ask them, like I'm a big fan asking questions on social media. So I'll post in my stories, do you guys think we should do this or this next time? Next meeting, should we talk about, business or mindset? If I had to bring this type of mentors, because I have a community of women, so I'll post like, if I had to bring this mentors, ABC, pick which one you want to hear from first. So I literally have conversations on social media to get them involved into the process of building my company. And that's how you get super connected to your audience.
Okay, thank you so much.
Of course. And awesome job on doing more since last time. It's exciting.
I have a question. I find a number of people that are interested in social impact projects, while they're super passionate, they tend to get somewhat emotional and overly verbose, especially where you talk about the brag. Sort of how do you get somebody who's really passionate but have a more concise elevator pitch?
Yeah, I teach them to go, I do an exercise with my groups, with my women that I coach, or any startup. I get them to go from 6 sentences. Basically, we do this exercise. We go from 200 words to 6 sentences to 6 words, because I believe if they can get it down into 6 words, then by the time they have to go back to 6 sentences, it becomes the most concise, direct, very precise pitch that they can give anybody, and anybody can sit for 6 sentences if it's done well and explain what it is about. But you are absolutely right. A lot of times, and it's not even social impact, I think with any type of entrepreneurial endeavors, a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we fall in love with our own projects so much, we get so excited to talk about them, but we forget that if people don't see the purpose and they don't see that precise explanation, we lose them, right? I always say clear is better than clever. So if they give something that's super clear and super short, like 6 sentences long, then anybody can understand what it is and stay with them.
All right. Well, you guys, thank you all so much. If we can just give Olenka a round of applause for being so amazing. That is just such valuable information.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And, it applies not just to women and girl entrepreneurs, but also to men as well. I mean, I think having that mindset is really, really important when it comes to starting your business. You touched on so many things. Like, you just have to get started. You don't have to start at page 100. So do not compare yourself. That resonates with me so much, because it can be so intimidating to, start a company. So I really appreciate you taking time out of your vacation, nonetheless, to speak with us and share all this amazing information with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much, Alicia.
Absolutely. Thank you all. And again, Olenka put her information up. So if you want to reach out to her separately, she put it out there for you. And if you have any questions, as always, you can call on myself, Armando, or John. And we are looking forward to seeing you guys at the opening ceremony tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.